Okay, I wanted to show you guys a source of food that I discovered a couple of years ago while camping out on the beach. We're here on the west side of Lopez Island. That's Anacortes straight across there, the town of Anacortes, and you can start seeing the snow of the Cascade Mountains behind them. It's getting on late February. I don't even know what day it is, but it's late February, it's still winter around here. And these beaches are just crawling with life. Underneath every rock you'll find snails, you'll find all kinds of stuff that's hopping around here, and generally speaking it's too small for us to think of it as a good source of food. But it is a good source of food. It's something that you can harvest almost like grain, and even though they've got these little shells, there's a way to cook them so that you can eat what is valuable inside of them. I'm going to give a little example here of what it's like underneath here. This is just seaweed washed up from the last high tide. You see all that movement there? Those are all sand shrimp. They're shrimp, every single one of them. See all that? I figured out a way to harvest these guys a couple summers ago, where I had a campfire that was a little too close to the shelter I was staying in. So I put a log in front of the campfire and pushed it with my feet 2 or 3 feet further away from, basically the width of the campfire, away from my tent is all I needed to move it. And it left this hot spot in the sand that when I woke up in the morning, hundreds of these little guys that come out at night hopping around jumped and landed into that hot sand and got cooked. They were bright pink, just like you cook a lobster or a Dungeness crab. They turn red when you cook them. There was hundreds of them. You could have filled a cereal bowl with little Sandfleas. Everything else around here, the place is covered in snails, and the further down the water you go, the more of these little black snails that you see, to the point where you're seeing dozens of them per rock. You know, by themselves, they're not really a very easy thing to eat. They're mostly shell, but if you can scrape all those little guys into the bottom of your pot, those shrimp are actually edible as they are. Barnacles are another food source. Small crabs, basically anything around here that moves and crawls around, and the barnacles, you can put them in the bottom of a pot and crush them up and fill it with water, and you cook their crushed carcasses, and all the heavy calcium in their shells sinks to the bottom of the pot, but the meat and the broth stays in the soup, and you can drink that just like it is. And then you leave the grounds, if you will, the bottom of the pot, and use those for bait or whatever. They're still going to smell like seafood, and yeah, you just kind of drink it like cowboy coffee and filter out all the shells between your teeth, or you just don't drink that far down. And that's a super high source in minerals, and it's going to have a fair amount of protein in it as well. But it's a good way to get some nourishing hot broth into you with a lot of flavor in it, and it's always here. This beach is always got life crawling on it 365 days of the year, so it's always an option. It's always reliable. Try it out sometime.